This subchapter pertains to Los Angeles, California regulations. As always, use this list as a general guide, but be sure to do your own research as well, because laws and regulations change all the time. A good place to start is the LA Business Portal website, which has a separate section for mobile food vending. Employer Identification Number, or EIN. Think of the EIN as your business's social security number. It's how the IRS identifies your business and is able to collect taxes from you and your employees. You can find information about how to apply for an EIN on the IRS website. California Payroll Tax Account Number. If you plan to have employees in the future, you'll need this number, which is issued by the Employment Development Department in order to pay payroll taxes. You can find more information on the EDD website. Fictitious Business Name, or FBN. You can skip this step and the next step if your business name contains your last name and the business name doesn't indicate that you have co-owners. For example, if you're Jackie Chan and you decided to create Chan's Chocolates, you don't need an FBN. If, however, you created Chan's Chocolates Inc. or Chan's Chocolates & Co., you may need an FBN because those names indicate that there may be other owners or shareholders. If you're unsure, contact the LA County Clerk. If the name is available, you can register in person, by mail, or through a third party if you're too lazy to do it yourself. The fee is $26. FBN publication. Within 30 days of filing your FBN, you need to advertise the name in a local newspaper once a week for 4 weeks. You can find a list of approved newspapers on the LA County Registrar Recorder or County Clerk website. The fees vary from newspaper to newspaper. Once the 4-week period is up, the newspaper should send you a proof of publication, which is a signed affidavit indicating the dates your name was published in their paper. You need to file this with the county clerk's office within 30 days after the 4-week period is up. The fee for this is $9. Some newspapers might include this last filing process in their services, so check with the newspaper. Business Tax Registration Certificate. This registers your business for local LA taxes, and you can file it online. The fees vary based on what you sell, what your business structure is, and so on. Seller's Permit. This is what your truck needs to legally sell food, and it's issued by the Board of Equalization. You can apply online or in person at no charge. At the time of recording this video, the main website for the Board of Equalization was down, and it redirected me to the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration. I've included both links in case the original one goes up again. Certified Food Protection Manager Certificate. At least one person on the food truck must have this certificate at all times. There are multiple companies that provide the certification, which can be found online by searching for California Food Handler Certificate and clicking on the first link. Pricing for the course and exam vary, but expect to pay around $100. Once you pass, the certificate is valid for 5 years. California Food Handler Card. Everyone else on the food truck besides the owner or manager must have a food handler card. You can receive the food handler card by studying for the course and passing the exam, which is shorter and much cheaper than the management certificate exam. You can find accredited companies at the ANSI website. The card is valid for 3 years and costs less than $20. Next, let's go over the different types of insurance you should have for your truck and your employees. Workers' compensation. This insurance covers employees' medical bills and a part of their wages in the case of a workplace-related injury or accident.
Your shelf collapsed on me, and I twisted my ankle.
I didn't even know you had ankles.
As if working here wasn't bad enough. And now I've been injured on the job.
Injured? On the job? Oh no.
Your employees also waive their right to sue you for negligence. Workers' comp is mandatory in most states, so if you don't have it in place, you can get fined or face jail time. If an employee is injured, they can sue you for medical expenses as well. If you choose not to get workers' comp, be careful not to make any of your employees disgruntled.
It was a crime of passion, Jan, not a disgruntled employee. Everyone here is extremely gruntled.
If you fire them, they can report you for not having workers' comp and you'll get fined. General liability. This insurance covers your business in case someone is injured or becomes ill because of your business.
How's it going?
Patrick, banana peel, don't!
What did you say?
It also covers any property damage that your business may cause. If you don't have general liability and a customer gets food poisoning, they can sue you for medical expenses and more. Although general liability isn't mandatory, the small cost you pay to protect yourself from a lawsuit that might kill your whole business is definitely worth it. A typical good set of coverages includes a $2 million aggregate limit, a $1 million products aggregate limit, and a $1 million each occurrence limit. Depending on your state, your truck's equipment, and many other factors, you can expect to pay between $400 and $1,000 a year for the coverages I just explained. Make sure that your insurer doesn't charge you anything to list additional insured entities. This is important because whenever your truck does an event, the event host will ask you to list them as an insured entity on their policy, just in case something happens. It would suck if you had to pay a fee every time this happened. Disability. This insurance covers all employees if they become temporarily or permanently disabled for a non-work-related injury or illness.
Do you know what it's like to be disabled, Oscar?
I had scoliosis as a girl.
Never heard of it. No, a real disability, not a woman's trouble.
The main difference between disability and workers' comp is that for an employee to receive workers' comp, their injury or illness has to be from something directly related to work. But for disability, it can be something like a car accident on the way to work, a sickness, or whatever. As of 2020, only 5 states make disability insurance mandatory: California, Hawaii, New Jersey, New York, and Rhode Island. Auto liability insurance. This insurance covers your truck, the driver, and any passengers in the case of a traffic-related accident. It is mandatory. You should look to get $500,000 to $1 million in liability coverage. The cost varies greatly depending on your states, the driver's driving records, the type of truck and type of equipment you have, and a lot of other factors. In our case, we pay around $3,000 a year for each occurrence coverage of $1 million. Every insurance company has its own set of guidelines for who they can insure, and in general, most insurance companies don't really want to insure food trucks. However, it sometimes really depends on which agent you get, because even within the same insurance company, one person will tell you one thing and the other will tell you something completely different. In our case, we were rejected from one company because the agent said we needed an automated fire extinguishing system above our stovetop. Now, this is true for food trucks in New Jersey, but not in New York. No matter how much I tried to explain this to him, he refused to listen.
You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp, Lloyd. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. Lloyd.
So I called a different branch of the same insurance company, and this agent actually knew the law and we were insured with no problem. A word of caution. Make sure you review the food truck laws for your state thoroughly and never rely on an insurance agent to tell you what they are. What could end up happening is you get insured, even though your truck shouldn't be under that company's policy, and then you get into an accident. You file a claim and the insurance company says, you shouldn't have been covered in the first place, and they fight to not pay you out. You blame the agent that approved the coverage, but it doesn't matter because the policy itself goes against the company's guidelines. Another big thing is to add every person who will be driving your truck to the list of approved drivers. This may seem obvious in the beginning when it's just you or you and your partners, but it'll become relevant later on if you hire a driver. If your employee gets into an accident and they're not on a list, your insurance company may have the right to not cover anything related to that accident. As long as everyone on the list has a clean driving record for the past 7 years and is at least 25 years old, having multiple drivers should add minimal cost to your premium. Because most businesses tend to not include the owner's last name, we can assume that you'll need to file for a fictitious business name, or FBN, which consists of a $26 registration fee, around $40 for newspaper publication, and $9 for the filing fee, for a total of $55. The business tax registration certificate is $30. I'm assuming you'll be on the truck every day, so you'll need to get a Certified Food Protection Manager certificate, which is around $100. You'll also hire 1 to 2 employees at the beginning, each of whom will need a California food handler's card. So for 2 employees, it'll cost you around $40 total, unless they already have the card, or you make them pay for it themselves. Insurance costs will vary greatly depending on many factors, but there's generally no upfront costs, so we'll leave this one blank for now. This brings our total so far to $325 on the low end and $2,775 on the high end.